Okay, that's pretty cool. One Piece chapter 1046. So, gotta go ahead and say it, man. Raizo, I'm impressed, man. Like, I wasn't necessarily like the biggest fan of Raizo. He's had moments here or there. I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. But this is actually something just given how the vassals of Odin have had to carry such big burdens on them. This has really good payoff right here where Raizo ends up saving the day. And I like how one of the things that we see when he does this is that Luffy's faith in those who are around him has essentially been paid off. And it really goes back to something that, you get established very early on in One Piece is that like Luffy is a lot of things. He can do a lot of things, but there are so many things that he can't actually do. Like Luffy's like, hey, I can't swing a sword, so I need a swordsman. Hey, I can't build a ship, so I need a guy that's going to be a shipwright. Hey, I can't steer a ship. I need a navigator, and so on and so forth. Well, true to what we saw with Luffy in the past, it's the same thing here. He's like, I can't save everyone down there right now because it's taking everything that I've got basically to fight this Kaidou guy, but I trust in everyone else that's down there to handle things that need to be handled. And essentially, that's exactly how Raizo ends up paying him off. And I liked what you saw there. So with my initial thoughts out of the way, let's back things up a bit. So the chapter opens up where you have Luffy saying, I don't really know what I need to name this attack right here. And Kaido, after getting hit so hard, it's like, dude, who are you? And I had noticed a few times, like in the last chapter, where he's like, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And I was like, okay, that's a little odd. And I didn't realize at the time that like Kaido is looking and he's basically testing Luffy. And we find out essentially what you get with awakening, because Kaido says that awakening is what happens when your mind has caught up with the devil fruit powers that you have, when the mind and body have been caught up with it. And as they're going into their battle, and Luffy's like, my name's Monkey D. Luffy. I'm gonna be a man who surpasses you. I'm gonna become the king of the pirates. You have Zunesha basically say that it's been a long time since I felt this rhythm. My heart's dancing. I can't help but put my faith in him. And he's saying like it's Joy Boy. And he's specifically talking about this rhythm. And that rhythm is obviously Luffy. So that's interesting right there. And even like with the sound effects, like with the doom, da, 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 that's the same thing that you see in the panel where Zunesha is walking towards Wano. So that explains a lot right there. So that weird rhythm that's going on with Luffy, that's something that's going on where Zunesha is able to hear it. So it's not just with Luffy's Gear 5 powers, but there's also that connection to Zunesha. So that was interesting to see that. And I like how when Kaido gives Luffy the praise saying like, hey, it's good to see that you ain't necessarily lost your mind, but this fight's about to end right here. And Kaido hits him with the Dragon Swarm. Luffy just immediately fires back and starts landing all these blows on Kaido. And we see for a moment that Luffy is beginning to call from all the smoke, and Kaido says, the battle's burning everything below. It's burning the performance castle. It's burning the performance floor. It's burning everything in the castle. Thousands of your men have been trapped down there. I've lost so much because of this fight. And Luffy's like, look, I don't care about none of that right there because I put all my people in charge of this. All I got to do is defeat you. And when Kaido tries to launch another attack at Luffy, Luffy literally just grabs his crotch and lifts himself up to dodge the attack. So it's more of those toon powers. And we start seeing some of the reactions. We start seeing Nami where she's reunited with Chopper, and you have this moment where Chopper's asking Zeus like, hey, can't you just make it rain? Which I'm like, hey, that makes a lot of sense. Put out the fires with the rain that Zeus can create. And Zeus is like, dude, those flames, they will give me burns. So we see that Zeus is out of it. And I mean, that honestly makes sense because if that was something that simple, Nami would have thought about it. Again, like we team Nami over here. And the next thing that we get after this is that we start seeing some of Law's crewmates and they begin to start freaking out, saying they can't take the heat anymore. You got Nico, Robin, and you got Brooke, and they're looking for ways to escape. And you know it's getting real when Nico Robin's somebody who makes it like her whole life mission to escape because she went from crew to crew, island to island because she was running away. Even Nico Robin, a master of escape, is looking around like, hey, there's nowhere else that we can actually go. And when we get to Sanji, you see Sanji trying to lead the women out, and even Sanji's like, there's no getting out of here. You get various reactions. Usopp is trying to use some of his tools. None of them work. He's like, I need more water. I need something else. You got Jinbe. Jinbe's just staring everything down, and Jinbe's like, look, like, this is going to work out. Luffy chose this samurai for our alliance. I don't doubt any of you guys. And it's because Raizo has taken off running, and we get the flashback where Raizo is thinking back to how the castle was burned down, and we learn about how when Zunesha was bathing that you had this moment where Raizo seals away some of that water. Well, we get the same thing here where all of a sudden Raizo undoes one of his scrolls and he unleashes all of the water. And you have this moment where when Jinbe sees that water and it's hitting him, Jinbe immediately adapts and does something very impressive. And it's really cool that you see Jinbe use his fishman jujitsu, and you see him use the ocean current shoulder throw, because you see a member of Luffy's crew working alongside one of Odin's people. That's very nice right there. It's kind of like bridging the past and the present together, as well as the future, because Luffy's the future king of the pirates. I thought symbolically that was very, very nice what Oda did there. I don't know if that was intentional. I don't know if that was an accidental moment of brilliance, but that was very well done. And so you essentially see all the water spreading all over the place, and you see the fires beginning to get out, and you see the relief on everybody. And after Yamato grabs hold of Momo and says like, hey, you have to make flame clouds to keep the island floating up. This is the only solution. Luffy, like an absolute demon, is jumping through the air, grabbing hold of actual lightning. Jesus Christ, this is a broken power. And Luffy is about to strike down Kaidou, and you see Kaidou making this crazy grin on his face. You can tell that he's having the time of his life right now, and you can tell that this fight's going to rage in that next chapter. But this is one of those times where Luffy is being rewarded by the valiant efforts of the people that he's worked with in the past, as well as with his own crew. And you see the contrast between himself and Kaidou, because Kaidou, yeah, he used people, but that camaraderie, it wasn't necessarily the same thing. What Luffy's got here, he's got people around him because he needs people who can do things that he can't. Even when you have like the flashbacks that you have with people like King, it's not necessarily the same thing that you have with Luffy and how he connected with all the Straw Hats. This is a beautiful payoff right here. Overall, this was a very fun chapter right here. So my chapter question to you guys is, out of all the Straw Hats that Luffy has added to the crew, which one do you think has added the most value to the Straw Hats? And then my second chapter question for you guys is, out of all the people that Kaidou's collected, who has added the most value to Kaidou's crew? But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.